Chapter 1. The Lament. Woven Words. Class 11. Elective Course. Short Story. Introduction. A short story is a brief work of prose fiction. It has a plot which may be comic, tragic, romantic, or satiric. The story is presented to us from one of the many available points of view, and it may be written in the mode of fantasy, realism, or naturalism. In the story of incident, the focus of interest is on the course and outcome of events, as in the Sherlock Holmes story. The story of character focuses on the state of mind and motivation, or on the psychological and moral qualities of the protagonist, as in Glory at Twilight. Chekhov's The Lament focuses on form nothing happens or seems to happen except an encounter and conversations, but the story becomes a revelation of deep sorrow. The story, the short story, differs from the novel in the magnitude. The limitation of length imposes economy of management and in literary effects. However, a short story can also attain a fairly long and complex form, where it approaches the expansiveness of the novel, which you may find in the third and final continent in this unit. Chapter 1. The Lament. Anton Chekhov gauge the meaning of these expressions from the context. Gingerbread horse, slog, snuffle, as if he were on needless. It is twilight. A thick wet snow is slowly trickling around the newly lighted street lamps and laying in soft, thin layers on roofs, on horses' backs, on people's shoulders and heads. The cab driver, Lona Potapov, is quite white and looks like a phantom. He is bent double as far as a human body can bend double. He is seated on his box. He never makes a move. If a whole snowdrift fell on him, it seems as if he would not find it necessary to shake it off. His little horse is also quite white and remains motionless. Its immobility, its angularity, and its strength, wooden looking legs, even close by, give it the appearance of a gingerbread horse worth a kopeck. It is no doubt plugged in a deep thought. If you were snatched from the plug from your usual grey surroundings and were thrown into this slot full of monstrous light, unceasing noise, and hurrying people, you too would find it difficult not to think. Luna and his little horse have not moved from their place for a long while. They left their yard before dinner and up to now not a fair. The evening mist is descending over the town. The white light of the lamps are replacing brighter rays, and the hubbub of the street is getting louder. Cabby for Viborg Ways suddenly hears Lona. Cabby. Lona jumps and, though his snow covered eyelashes, sees an officer in a great coat with his hood over his head. Viborg Way. The officer repeats, "Are you asleep? Eh, Viborg Way?" With a nod of assent, Lona picks up the reins, in consequence of which layers of snow slip off the horse's back and neck. The officer seats himself in the slight. The cab driver smacks his lip to encourage his horse, stretches out his neck like a swan, sits up, and more from habit than necessity brandishes his whip. The little horse also stretches its neck, bends its wooden looking legs, and marks a move undecently. "What are you doing, Werewolf?" is the exclamation Lona hears from the dark mass moving to and fro as soon as the move started. "Where the devil are you going? To the RR, right? You do not know how to drive. Keep to the right," called the officer angular, angrily. A coachman from a private carriage swears at him. A passerby who has run across the road and rubbed his shoulder against the horse's nose looks at him furiously as he whips the snow from his sleeve. Lona shifts about on his seat as if he were on needles, moves his elbow as if he were trying to keep his equilibrium, and gasps about like someone suffocating who does not understand why and wherefore he is there. "What sco- scoundrels they all are," jokes the officer. "One would think they had all entered into a agreement to jostle you or fall under your house." Luna looks around at the officer and moves his lips. He eventually want to say something, but the only sound that issues is a snuffle. What? Asked the officer. Lona twisted his mouth into a smile and, with an effort, says hoarsely, "My son, Barin, died this week." Hmm? What did he die of? Luna turned with his whole body towards his fear and says, "And who knows? They say high fever. He was 3 days in the hospital and then died. God will be done. God's will be done." Turn around, the devil sounds from the darkness. Have you popped off, old doggy? Ah, eh. Use your eyes. Go on, says the officer. Otherwise, we shall not get there by tomorrow. Hurry, but a bit. The cab driver again stretches his neck, sits up, and with a bad grace brandishes his whip several times. Again he turned to look at his fare, but the latter has closed his eyes and apparently is not disposed to listen. Having disposted the officer in the Viborg, he stops by the tavern, du- doubles himself up on his seat, and again remains motionless, while the snow once more began to cover him and his horse. An hour and another, then along the footpath, with a squeak of galoshes and quarreling, uh, come three young men, two of them tall and lanky, the third one short and hump-backed. "Cabby, to the police bridge," in a cracked voice calls the humpback. The three of us for two grievings. Lona picks up his reins and smacks his lips. Two grievings is not a fair price, but he does not mind whether it is a ruble or 5 kopecks. To him it is all the same now, so long as they are fares. The young men, jostling each other and using bad language, approach the slate, and all three at once try to get onto the seat. Then begins a discussion as to which two shall sit and who shall be the one to stand. After wrangling, abusing each other, and much petulance, it is at last dis- decided that the humpback shall stand, as he is the smallest. "Now, then, hurry up," says the humpback in the twangly voice, as he takes his place and breathes in Lona's neck. Old furry, here, mate, what a cap you have. There is not a worse one to be found in all Petersburg. He, giggles Lona. Such a now you such a such a hurry up. Are you going the whole way at this pace? Are you? Do you want it in the neck? My head feels like bursting, says one of the lanky ones. Last night at the Don Donka Masov's Vaska and I drank the whole of 4 bottles of cognac. I do not understand what you lie for, says the other lanky one angrily. You lie like a brute. God strike me, it's the truth. It it's as much the truth as that a lows cough. He grins Lona. What gay young gentleman. Pshaw, go to the devil, say the humpback indignantly. Are you going to get and no, on or not? You old pets, in that the way to drive? Is that the way to drive? Use the whip a bit. Go on, devil, go on. Give it to him well. Luna feels at his back, the little man wriggling, and the tremble in his voice. He listens to the insults hurled at him, sees the people, and little by little the feeling of loneliness leaves him. The humpback goes on swearing until he gets mixed up in some elaborate 6 foot oath or chokes with coughing. The Lankies began to talk about certain Nad- Nadi- Nadida Jida Petrovna. Luna looks round at him several times. He waits for a temporary silence. Then, turning around again, he murmurs, my son died this week. We must all die, signs the humpback, wiping his lips after an attack of coughing. No, now, hurry up, gentlemen. I really cannot go any farther like this. When will he get us there? Well, just you stimulate him a little in the neck. You old pest, do you hear? I will bone your neck for you. If one treated the like of you with ceremony, one would have to go on foot. Do you hear, old serpent Gorinist? Or do you not care a spit? Lona hears rather than feels the blow they deal him. He He laughs. They are gay young gentlemen. God blesses. Cabby, are you married? Asked a lanky one. I? He, gay young gentleman. Now I have only a wife and the most ground. He, ho ho, that is to say, the grave. My son has died and I am alive. A wonderful thing. Death mistook the door. Instead of coming to me, it went to my son. Lona turns round to tell them how his son died, but at this moment the humpback, giving a little sigh, announces, thank God, we have at last reached our destination. And Lona watches them disappear through the dark entrance. Once more he is alone and again surrounded by silence. His grief, which has abated for a short while, returns and rends his heart with greater force. With an anxious and hurried look, he searches among the crowd crowds passing on either side of the street to find whether there may be just one person who will listen to him. But the crowds hurry by without noticing him or his trouble. Yet it is such an immense, illuminable, illuminable grief. Should his heart break and the grief pour out, it would flow over the whole earth. So it seems, and yet no one sees it. It has managed to conceal itself in such an insignificant cell that no one can see it ever by day and with a light. Lona sees a hall pot- porter with some sacking and decides to talk to him. Friend, what sort of time is it? He asks. Past 9. What are you standing here for? Move on. Lona moves on a few steps, doubles himself up, and abandons himself to his grief. He sees it is useless to turn to people for help. In less than 5 minutes, he strengthens himself, holds up his head as if he felt some sharp pain, and gives a tug at the reins. He can bear it no longer. The stables, he thinks, and the little horse, as if it understood, starts off at a trot. About an hour and a half later, Lona is seated by a large dirty stove. Around the stove, on the floor, on the benches, people are snoring. The air is thick and suffocatingly hot. Lona looks at the slippers, scratches himself, and regrets having written so early. I have not even earned my fodder. He thinks, that's what's my trouble. A man who knows his job, who has had enough to eat and he is the horse too can always sleep peacefully. A young cab driver in one of the corner half gets up, grunts sleepily, and stretches towards a bucket of water. Do you want a drink? Luna asks him. Don't I want a drink? That's so. Your good health. But listen, may, mate, you know, my son is dead. Did you hear? This week in the hospital. It's a long story. Luna looks to see what effect his words have, but sees none. The young man has hidden his face and is fast asleep again. The old man sighs and scratches his head, just as much as the young one wants to drink, the old man wants to talk. It will soon be a week since his son died, and he has not been able to speak about it properly to anyone. One must tell it slowly and carefully. How his son fell ill, how he suffered, what he said before he died, how he died. One must describe every detail of the funerals and the journey to the hospital to fetch the dead son's clothes. His daughter Anissa has remained in the village. One must talk about her too. It is nothing he has to tell. Surely the listener would gasp and sigh and sympathize with him. It is better to talk to women. Two words are enough to make them sob. I will go and look after my horse. Thinks Lona. There, there, there always time to sleep. No fear of that. He puts on the coat and goes to the stable to his horse. He thinks of the corn, the hay, the weather. When he is alone, he dare not think of his son. He can speak about him to anyone, but to think of him and picture him to himself is unbearably painful. Are you trucking in? Lona asked his horse, looking at its bright eyes. Go on, tuck in. Though we have not earned our corn, we can eat hay. Yes, I am too old to drive. My son could have, not I. He was a first rate cab driver. If only he had lived. Lona is silent for a moment, then continues. That's how it is, my old horse. There no more Kuzma launch. He has left us to live, and he went off pop. Now let's say you had a foal. You were the foal's mother, and suddenly, let's say that foal went and left you to live after him. It would be sad, would not it? The little horse munches, listens, and breathes over its master's hand. Lona's feelings are too much for him, and he tells the title horse the whole story. About the author, Anton Chekhov, 1810-1904, was born in a middle class family in Russia. He died medicine, he studied medicine at Moscow University. His first short story appeared in 1880, and in the next 7 years he produced more than 600 stories. He also wrote plays. See Gule, Uncle Vanya, The Three Sisters, The Cherry Orchards are among the more famous ones. His work greatly influenced the modern short story and drama. The main theme of Chi Works short stories is life pathos caused by the inability of human being to respond to or even to communicate with one another. The present story illustrates this point beautifully. Understanding the text. 1. Comment on the indifference that meets Lona's attempts to share his grief with his fellow human beings. 2. What impression of the character of Lona do you get from this story? 3. How does the horse serve as a true friend and companion to Lona? Talking about the text, discuss the following in pairs. 1. Empathy and understandings are going out of modern society. The individual experiences intense alienation from the society around him or her. 2. Behind the public face of the people in various occupations is a whole saga of personal suffering and joy which they wish to share with others. Appreciations. 1. The story begins with a description of the settings. How uh, does this serve as a fitting prelude to the events described in the story? 2. Comment on the graphic details with which the various passengers who took Lona's cab are described. 3. This short story revolves around a single important event. Discuss how the narrative is woven around this central fact. 4. The story begins and ends with Lona and his horse. Comment on the significance of this to the plot of the story. Language work. 1. Look at the following set of words and mention what is common to them both in form and meaning. Shuffle, snort, sniffle, snore. 2. Look at the word given in the box below. Zin, snigger, wriggle, sneak, squeak, squeak, titter, paint, chew, kill, gill, zir, cottel, gufaw, gufaw, sing, siddle, bow, shriek, scramble, choke, straggle, plod, gasp. Now classify them according to their closeness in meaning to the word given below. A, B, C, D, E. Snigger, wriggle, squeak, zeer, sign. 3. Explain the association that the color white has in the story. 4. What does the phases as if he were on needles mean? Can you think of another phrase with a similar meaning substituting the word needles? Suggested reading 1. What Men Live by Leo Tolstoy. 2. The Overcoat by N. Gogol.